I have faith in the universe. And I don't look at a difficulty as a difficulty. I look at a difficulty as the universe's way of cleaning something up because it's preparing me for something else.
Hi guys, I am Prakshal and welcome to the Now podcast. Today we have Shayamal Vallabhji. Shayamal is a performance coach, a sports scientist, a mental trainer and an EQ consultant with over 2 decades of field experience with Olympians and championship winning teams. He is also a former monk, an ultramarathon runner and a TEDx speaker. In this episode we talked about the transitions he went through in his life, role of meditation and some very insightful advice for the young people who are just starting out. Let's dive into it.
Sir, it's an honor to have you
Thank
here.
you so much. Thank you so much, Sharon.
So, sir, we'll start from the beginning.
Sure.
We want to know how did your life look in early 20s when you are our age?
My life in your age looked probably a little bit like what your life looks right now. I was exactly like you, dressed like you, looked like you, loved to play sport, didn't like to study very much. Everything was the same, except that I grew up in South Africa. And in South Africa, we had a thing called the apartheid, which was institutionalized oppression. And it was quite interesting because I didn't know what apartheid was. And I didn't even know apartheid existed because I grew up in an Indian home, much like you, and our parents protected us. So they didn't allow us to go in places where we would have felt oppression. They didn't send us to schools where we would have felt it. They created such a secluded environment that growing up, I didn't even know this existed. And only when I wanted to play sport did I realize what this was and the impact it actually has on people of color. So with the exception of that, my life was very much like yours. I would wake up, go to school, had friends, played cricket on the road, played football on the road, did all of that. And we lived in small communities where everyone supported each other and grew together. It was quite nice.
Okay, so was that time period difficult as a teenager? Since it is hard to understand those things at that young age?
I think life when I was a teenager and life now is completely different. I think you're under so much of pressure. The world is become such a fast-paced world that the need to succeed, the need to be super specialized, the need to earn money quickly is just that much greater. When I was at your age, I was not thinking about my next job and how to create all sorts of things, and it was that pressure didn't exist. We grew up. Y'all are far more empowered now through all these digital tools. When I was 18 years old, if I thought of doing a podcast, I would never have known where to start. I didn't even dream of making a movie. I thought Steven Spielberg was as good as God. Like as an Indian person, like how on earth would you even think of making a movie? I didn't even know that was even open to us. Now a child at 7, 8 years old can tell you that I want to be an actor. I want to be someone who makes movies. That didn't exist for us back then. So, but we were also a little bit beneficial in the sense that we had a great life, in that our life was very outdoors, isn't it? We climbed trees, we played sport, we ran, we swam. We had a very outdoor life because we weren't distracted by digital technology. So, my generation were far fitter and far healthier.
That is very true.
Yeah, so that's the price y'all are paying for. Y'all are moving very, very fast. Y'all are earning a lot quicker, but you're sacrificing your health in the process.
You talks a lot about a balanced life. You have a show called Pursuit of Balance.
Yes.
You live the balanced life. So I want to know, what does that balance mean?
Balance is quite an interesting thing. The textbook definition of balance is that two weights of equal and opposite distribution on either side. But the important thing about balance is not the weight on either side, but is the point in the middle, the fulcrum. The integrity of that point is actually what holds something in balance, And the integrity of that in the context of human life is you. depending on how strong you are, how developed you are, how mentally agile you are, how mentally strong you are, the integrity of yourself is what will actually help put those other things in balance. For example, if I give you an example, if you take two 1 kg weights, okay, if I put it on a very strong nail in the middle, you could balance those two 1 kg weights.
Yeah.
If I take those same two 1 kg weights and I try to balance it on a water balloon, it would never balance. Why? What is the difference between the nail and the water balloon? Is the integrity of that structure. One is strong, it's upright, its integrity is there. The other is moving. It's constantly moving. It doesn't understand and know its own shape yet. So if it doesn't know its own shape, how can it maintain the balance of the other things? So the integrity of the center point, which is you yourself, is the most important thing in the balance of anything. Do you understand?
So how do we maintain that integrity? So how do
You maintain the integrity by developing yourself, by understanding what is important, by looking at self-love, by mental strength, finding processes around meditation, by being a good individual, highly ethical, high integrity, by caring for people around you, by cultivating happiness, cultivating kindness, giving back to society. These are the elements that will maintain the integrity of you as a person.
Okay, yeah. So life throws difficulties at everyone, and you have faced a lot of difficulties and adversities too.
Yes.
So how do you pass that period and pass those obstacles, and how do you suggest to like people like us, to face those difficulties with a smile on your face, or without not giving up?
Yeah, difficulties are, they will come and they will go. Time, everything passes with time. How I survive everything is I have faith. I have faith in the universe. And I don't look at a difficulty as a difficulty. I look at a difficulty as the universe's way of cleaning something up because it's preparing me for something else. I look at anything that happens in my life, good, bad, whatever it is. I look at it as the universe's way of preparing me for something else. And when you view it in that, then you will not be upset. And if I give you an example, if today I come to your house and I steal 1,000 rupees, you'll be upset. Okay,
Sure.
you'll be very upset, totally. Because why? All you're doing is seeing 1,000 rupees taken. Okay, but if tomorrow I come and replace that 1,000 rupees with 10,000 rupees, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Now, the point is that the universe knows it's taking something to replace something. Okay, it's taking something small to give you something bigger. Now that the universe knows that, but you don't know that because you're only seeing 1,000 go. Now, if you looked at everything in life that this is going because something more beautiful is coming, you won't be upset. If I told you that I'm going to come and steal this 1,000 rupees, but in a month's time there'll be 10,000 rupees lying there, would you be upset? The answer is no. You'd be looking forward to it. You'd be happy, isn't it? Now, why don't we look at everything in our life that way? That requires faith.
And I have heard somewhere, I read it like people try to fit everything in their logical mind, and you can't like put everything, life and universe logics in your head. So that is why I think like people are not able to put faith in the universe so much. Every time something comes up, they are like shattered and they want to give up. And
Yeah, you got to. Faith is a process, like any other process. It's like getting fit. It's like getting smarter. You don't become a BA student on the first day you go to university. You have to stay there for 3 years, isn't it? Same thing with faith. You have to go there every day. You have to trust it, and 3 years later, you will see the reward of it. So the point is that the human mind can trust something it sees. It needs to learn to trust things it cannot see. That's what it needs to learn. And that's what you need. And that's what faith is. Faith is the ability to trust something that you cannot see, that it is there, that it is working.
and it takes time to develop that mindset, or to see through this lens.
Correct.
It will take time.
It takes time. It all takes time. Correct.
Yeah. So I want to talk about importance of mentors and gurus in life.
Yeah.
So how do you find them, and how important they are in your journey?
A teacher is an extremely important part. A guru is a teacher. You know, And a teacher is extremely important. At university, you can't learn something without a teacher. No matter what subject it is, you need someone to guide you. And it's the same. A guru is a spiritual guide that is guiding you on the path of enlightenment. Okay. And that is integral. So the question is, does everyone need a guru or a teacher in various aspects of their life, or a mentor? The answer is yes. You need them. The second question is, how do you find them? Well, there's certain characteristics that they need to have. There are 4 C's actually. The first C is they need to be competent. So if you're looking for someone who's a spiritual guide, for example, or you're looking for someone who can teach you maths, that person needs to be competent with that subject. They need to know that subject to be able to pass on that information. Okay. The second C is comfort. You need to be comfortable with that person, because if you're not comfortable with them, you won't be able to learn from them. So the level of comfort is extremely, extremely important. Okay. The third C is confidence. That person needs to instill confidence in you. Okay. Which means that you've gone there to learn from them. After spending time with them, if you do not feel confident that you can absorb that knowledge and use that knowledge to become a better person or to empower others, then that is not a good teacher. If that person is taking away from your confidence, then they're not the ideal teacher. And the fourth C is character. The person needs to have strong character, strong integrity. They need to have a good upstanding ethics in society. And the person should have a character that allows them to make the right decision, right, at all times. A decision that is in the best interest of you and not the best interest of them. So these are the 4 C's you apply to finding a good mentor. And finding a good mentor is essential in life.
So yeah, let's consider those 4 C's to finding mentors. So I watched a documentary, and that is super awesome.
Thank you.
So there's one of your friend in the documentary said that there are 2 elements of life that are important: clock and compass.
Yeah, Gauranga.
Yeah. So we are modern society, material society. We are too much focused on clock, and this is like very personal to me. Like I want to know about this. Like people are so much focused on clock. Like you have said earlier, like there was no rush at your time to be like earn well, earn that at a young age. Today, like even when people get 18. They are like, you have to get the job, you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to do something like this. So, how do you find that direction, and what is that missing in our this modern society? I feel something is missing. Like people are rushing and they don't have a direction.
In life, there are 3 stages. Okay, when you're a child, a baby, you don't have any money, you don't have any experience. You're completely helpless, but you have a lot of time. You got your whole life ahead of you. So money and experience doesn't matter. When you're in the middle of your life, which is where you all are right now, you've got a lot of time, you got little experience, and you got a little money. But you see it worthwhile trading time for money or experience. That's what working is, or that's what doing an internship is. Okay. And later on in life, as you get older, you may have a lot of time, you may have a lot of experience, or you may have a lot of money, you may have a lot of experience, but you've got no time left. So time is a valuable asset. So understanding where you are in life will help guide you in how you need to behave. Now, as a student, when you're 18 years old, okay, a lot of anxiety comes in because you're not looking at life in its entirety. You're looking only in a short period of time. You're looking for 5 years, or you're looking for 10 years. And that's why there's that urgency in there, Now, growth has been factored in, from 18 to 30 is a time that's factored into our life in where we can trade time for experience, And sometimes the best experiences you'll have to sacrifice to learn. And I'll give you a really nice example. In 2003, my cricket coach, Phil Russell, came to me and he said, He says the Indian cricket team needs an expert to travel with them around the world, around the country. And I said, he says, do you want to go? I said, yeah. So he says, I'm going to connect you with John Wright, the coach, and you speak to him. So I met John on the day the Indian team arrived, and he says, you know what? He says, we'd love to work with you. You know the grounds, Phil recommends you. And we can't pay you, and neither can we buy flights for you. And I said, sure, doesn't matter, I'll do it. So I hired my own car, and for the 2003 World Cup, I drove 12,000 kilometers, and I never missed a single practice. Not a single practice. I drove from Durban to Cape Town to Zimbabwe, you name it, every single venue. They just got me an accreditation. Now, I didn't earn anything. I paid my own money. And I drove 12,000 kilometers around the country in 6 weeks to just work with that team. Because I saw sacrificing my money and sacrificing my time, which will get me an experience that I will be able to hold for life, leverage for life, and will help me grow. Now, this was in 2003. Okay. In 2017, okay. Now, I had stopped working in cricket for a very long time. I stopped working in cricket probably after the World Cup, maybe 2004 or 5, yeah, And 2017 is 12 years later, I walked into the Grand Hyatt Hotel in Mumbai, Kalina, okay, and the guy walking out was Virender Sehwag, right? So I stopped him. I said, Viru, how are you? He asked me, he says, Veg, what are you doing here? So I said, I live here. And he says, are you doing anything in sport? And so I said, I do all sorts of things, kabaddi. And he asked me, do you want to come work for Kings 11 Punjab? Yeah. So I said, what do you mean? He says, no, they've just signed me as the head coach. And I like how you work. Why don't you come? I said, sure. So it took 2 minutes. It took 2 minutes for Virender Sehwag to sign me as the mental coach for Kings 11 Punjab. 12 years after I drove around the country with him. Okay. Now, I could never have known this, right? But the point is that I traded time for experience. And I was never questioning how much I'm going to get paid or anything like that. And when you put your heart and soul into something and you do it, you never know when it's going to come back. Why did he hire me? If I didn't do that job, I would never have got this job. If I accepted that job but did a half-hearted effort at it, I would never have got that opportunity. So the anxiety comes in because you want everything now. But the thing is that life is long. Things will come back in all shapes and forms. Yeah.
And that faith was constant in those periods also.
Faith is always there. Faith is always there.
It's like a constant in your life. How do you like this?
Yeah.
We'll move to our last question.
Sure, thank you.
So, how do you define success and failures?
I don't really define success and failure. Failure is when you stop trying, then you fail. But the ups and downs is not failure. It's just a part of the process, And if a down is a part of the process, then the up is a part of a process. So I don't look at anything. When people ask me, you've achieved so much, I don't feel like I've achieved anything. When people say you're successful, I don't feel successful. I feel like it's just part of the process. And you are looking at an aspect of my life when I was at the top. There was an aspect of my life when I was right at the bottom as well, because that's the journey, isn't it? So if you only look at the top, then you say, oh, successes. If you only look at the bottom, the failures. And if someone has spent a little more time at the bottom, then they're a failure? No. If someone has spent more time at the top, does that mean they're successful? No. It's just, that's how their graph is going. So I don't look at things as success and failures. I look at everything as a journey in life, and a journey of growing, and a journey of enjoying, and a journey of being a part of everything. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir, for being a part of the show.
Thank you very much.
It's a privilege to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.